Welcome back to another glorious episode of the Boombasticast with the greatest man in the world, Alexander Hawk,
That would be me, yes.
and
I
the
am.
lowest man on the totem pole, Matthew Fisher, doing it big, trying to do it big, doing it big style, making it nice. You know what I mean? I wore a special hat, keep my brain warm, so I can have good questions for this episode of the Boombasticast. And what an episode it is. Alexander, tell the folks what we have in store for them behind curtain number one.
Well, behind curtain number one, we are going to be interviewing Mr. Tom Proctor.
Yeah.
Now, for those who might or might not know, Tom Proctor has been in some great film and TV. He's been in, most notably, Guardians of the Galaxy. He has been in The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and he also has been in a lot of great TV like Justified and Baskets. A very talented actor, and not just that. I mean, after doing research, just the stuff he's done. While he has a lot of acting credits, he has a lot of credits in other parts of making film. I mean, he has stunts credits. He has animal wrangler credits. He has directing credits, producing credits. This guy does it all. And
every producer should get an animal wrangling credit, I feel.
Ooh.
Well,
yes, for those who don't know, that sometimes dealing with actors is like herding cats. So.
Alfred Hitchcock once said something about actors and cattle. But we'll leave that to Alfred, the good director.
Yeah.
So today's gonna be good times. I've been looking forward to this episode for quite a bit.
Yeah.
Mom's been involved with a lot of really cool projects, and the little kid film fan in me, whenever I see all these big filmmakers that people get to work with, I go, "Ooh yeah!" Here comes questions. Very nice.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, at least out of my experience, while I don't have a long list of doing interviews, this is the first person that I can actually ask, what does an alligator wrangler do? How do you wrangler alligators? That's one question I definitely have to ask him, because I'm just curious as all hell how the hell you do that.
It's a dangerous job, but somebody has to do it.
That is true. That is true.
Speaking of animal wrangling, who was the big famous Animal Planet guy? Not Steve Irwin, but the other one, the one that was before him.
Oh, I'm trying to think. Marty Stafford.
Oh, I want to say Jack, maybe Jack something.
Oh no.
John. Oh, I was on the docks visiting my cousin in his boat the other day, and we walked by a boat that was owned by that dude. So that's why animal talk made me put it on my head. Jack Corwin, John Corwin.
Okay.
Corwin, last name Corwin. He was the dude that when we were on the come up, he was like Animal Planet, the king of animals. You know how every generation has their own king of animals?
Yeah. I mean, in the 80s, it was Marty Stafford.
Well, then in the 90s, it was this dude,
Okay.
Corwin, Jeff Corwin. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And then what's his name came into the mix? Steve Irwin.
Yeah.
Very, very much like Corwin. So he was, Jeff was very unhappy with him. But yeah, he was like the 90s animal dude. And then all of a sudden, Corwin came in. I think he was life aquatic as well as on land. They probably both were. But that dude took over. He got his own like movie, the Crocodile Hunter movie, which is bananas that they gave that dude a movie. But it was a weird time for Hollywood at that time. I own that film, which is even weirder than it being made, is the fact that I own a VHS copy from Blockbuster of that somewhere. Which makes it.
I wouldn't have to get myself a copy. I don't think I've ever seen it. I heard that he did a movie, but I haven't seen it.
I never watched it, but I own it. It's one of those things. Without further ado, here is the world of Tom Proctor.
But thanks for joining us.
Sure. Yeah,
no problem.
I'm Matt. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Matt. I'm Tom Proctor.
Good to meet you.
Yeah. Let's get right into it. Okay. I gotta say, one of the things is I was doing research and I have an honest question. Is there anything you cannot do?
Is that a question to me or Matt?
Yeah, it is.
I can
the
do
thing
anything.
is that I mean, you have like driven cattle. You've animal wrangler. You're also a MMA fighter. Honestly, from reading everything that I read about you, that your life sounds like a movie within itself.
Yeah, I've been told that a lot of times. It probably is. You know, a lot of it I'd rather people didn't write about because I think I could still go to jail for that, but I'm not sure. I don't know what the statute of limitations is on some things, but
Yeah.
I will tell you, you ever watch what's Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah.
Okay, my family has told me several times you're Tigger, because when I get really happy, I laugh at it as a high pitched Tigger type laugh. But you know, in Winnie the Pooh, Tigger would go try things. He would say, Tigers like living in trees. They live in trees. And then he got up there too high and looked down and goes, oh, no, 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 no. Tigers do not like living in trees. Tigers don't like this.
Yeah.
Well, I pretty much did that with my life. You know, we did a lot of the animal training come about because we didn't have, we weren't like rich ranchers. We didn't have, you know, 300 acres in Montana. We had a 40-acre family plot where we wintered, and then we ranged cattle and everything like that. So we didn't have Nintendo. We didn't have the video games kids got nowadays. And so my way of entertaining myself was, I'd find a baby raccoon that the mom had been killed, and I'd train it up to do tricks and train mountain lions and wolves. And my dogs that did a lot of movie work were operating on Boys Command, because a lot of my dog work with the movies was come from being lazy. Most people come up behind their cattle and they herd the cattle in front of them. Well, for me, that's eating a lot of dust.
Yeah.
And so I trained the dogs to make outruns and bring the cattle to me and shut them down. And I trained the dogs from when they're pups to make whatever they were herding follow me, which is kind of shitty because now you got the dogs eating the dust, but not you. But the dogs are eating the dust anyway. It ain't like they can herd from the front.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I wasn't, looking for an out for them. And being, we had a very, very small town. Well, actually no town to start with. We didn't have a grocery store or nothing. One town over had this one building that was the designated karate school building. And that meant somebody was going to open up and try to have a successful karate school there every 6 months. And so I wound up getting my green belt in like 12 different systems, because they would go and shut down and everything like that. And I just kind of kept at it. And I saw the movie Billy Jack.
Oh, yeah, that's
good.
And that's what made me think I can be a movie star. And I'll tell you what my line of reasoning was there, because it's fucking ridiculous. Oh, scratch that word. It was getting ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah.
And, but my thought was, now you got to keep in mind, I was, young kid, 10, 11, 12, but I saw Billy Jack and I thought, he trained under Bong Soo-han. And I train under a guy who trains under a guy who trained under another guy who trained under a guy who trained under another guy who probably trained under somebody who lived somewhere in the area and knew Bon Su Hong and was in the same system. It was Hapkido is Hapkido, right?
And bowling team. Yeah.
And bowling team, yeah. And so I got it to my head that that was my way in. I was going to do that. And so I went through a lot of, you know, put a lot of energy into learning the fighting arts and stuff like that. And it was kind of funny because there was Stan Chinoff had a boxing thing in his garage. And so I learned to box, and they set up a fight at the Geneva Steel Hall. And I was like 9 or so. I don't know. I'm not good with ages back then. And they got me ready to go to my first fight. Well, I go to get a fight, and I see Stan didn't have a boxing ring in his place. He had the punch bags and all that stuff. And I don't know what I was thinking. But they said, we're going to go up in that ring and fight. And I said, no, he ain't.
Yeah.
And they said, well, what do you mean? No, this is the fight. And I said, no, he wants to fight. He come out here. I'll fight him in the parking lot. And they said, you got to go in the ring. I said, no, because if I'm in the ring, I start to lose. There's nowhere to go. And that ain't happening. He wants to fight. He can come out here. Oh, man, I embarrassed my whole family and everything because I would not get in that ring.
Huh.
And then somehow managed to go from that to cage fighting. And
that's quite a jump, because now you definitely can't get out of that ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I got all right with it because I was all right with it in cage fighting, because the early days of cage fighting, I was fighting before it was called MMA. It was called no holds barred. And there really was no rules, no time limits. And, you know, you give me a fight where there really is no rules and no time limit, I'm good with that. but I took the heavyweight title and super heavyweight title when I was 47 years old, and then I got tired of beating guys to death and not having their corner throw the things. So dumbass me, we went and decided to get it sanctioned, and we started the ISCF, International Shoot Fighting Association, and got the first cage fight. So what I was doing was all done in Mexico or out on the reservations. And then the UFC or Battlecade. You got to fight one or the other. And I thought Battlecade was going to do better than UFC, but it didn't. They did a couple of good fights, and then they become the something else fighting organization.
Yeah.
But it was kind of, you know, just crazy times. And then when I started the IFCF, got the rules made, got it sanctioned by the Boxing Commission, and my entire fight record went away. Because only 2 of my fights were sanctioned. So that it was like all the rest of them gone as far as legitimate fights go. And, you know, which don't matter. Your fight record don't matter. I pissed off Cameron Lee too when 1974 they were trying to set the rules, the precedents for martial arts in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Now you got to keep in mind that this time, it's different now, but at this time, a white American could not get to above 3rd degree in Taekwondo. They just wouldn't give it to them. Now you got 17-year-old karate bastards in Taekwondo.
Yeah.
And they get their black belt in a year guaranteed. And so they were trying to establish these things. And one of my instructors, Jim Hansen, had invited me to come down represent in Vegas and represent the U.S. teams. I said, yeah, that sounds fun. I'll go do that. And it was AKA fighting is what they was using to establish. Now, AKA fighting, in my opinion, was the most exciting fight crap in the world. When I say fight crap, I mean exactly that, fight crap, because it was 3 90-second rounds with 1 minute rest.
All
So,
out war?
yeah, so all technique went out the door.
Yeah.
It was a matter of who got the mostest firstest end of conversation. And but they had weird, so they'd set up it kind of like that, but then they had these weird set of rules that said a punch was worth more points than a kick, and this was worth that. And if somebody was hurt and couldn't continue, they didn't lose the fight, they forfeited the fight.
Yeah.
And I couldn't make no sense of that. You just got your ass whipped. It looks like to me you lost the fight. If you can't continue, you know, how's that not losing? Because you had, anyway, it was set up really weird because it was set up designed to favor the Koreans. And I got an argument. Quan Lee calls me and wants me to go down and representing Korea. I says, I'm an American. I represent America. You martial art, Korea. You represent Korea. I said, no, actually, I don't. Yeah, and he says, and he got really mad. He says, I make sure, Cameron, this was Cameron Lee. He said, I make sure your first fight, Quan Lee. And I said, I don't give a shit who's my first fight. I said, you know, you go to an orgy, you don't care which one you have sex with first. You're going to work your way through all of them anyway.
Yeah.
So I pissed him off. He walked out, and Joe Pierce is standing there, and I says, who the hell is Quan Lee anyway? He goes, 8-time Korean national champion, 6 times the European national champion. He's got a record of, I can't remember how many and all. I was, well, that pretty much means he hasn't fought anybody. He never lost a fight. He hasn't fought anybody.
You think they fluff it up for him? Like their heroes that they're building, they fluff it up with, you know what I mean? To make them look great?
Yeah, they do that a lot. They did that on the guy who went and fought in Japan. But it was a funny situation because they cut the rules back enough that he had this big fancy ass cartwheel kick that he'd do and catch people with. And I'd watched it enough times. And I thought, oh, well, I got a surprise for you. And so I stood there with my leg long, waiting for him to fire that. And when he did, instead of sweeping him or side kicking him, I just reached up, grabbed his gi with both hands like this, brought it down, boom, headbutted him and rocked back with a big old John Wayne punch, blam, and knocked him the hell out. Well, neither one of those punches qualified as things. So here the guy is, he's out cold, cannot continue. And at that point, I was ahead of him on points. So he lost to a forfeit. And Cameron got mad. He says, "You not fighter. You maul him. You maul him." I said, well, maybe you got to train your fighters to fight maulers because it's supposed to be self-defense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, all the guys I ride with aren't really training, and they maul shit.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah. It's, you know, it changed. You see it, even the UFC, like back in the beginning of the UFC, there's some of those, the fights that really made, you know, people watch it. They were super violent as opposed to now. It gets violent from time to time, but like you thought somebody was going to die in the early days. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was rough. But what do you attest to softening up kind of now? Is that more of like a Hollywoodized or like a sports entertainment got more involved with it?
You know, it's a lot the boxing commission got entertained with it, but I'm going to tell you right now, the new one is more violent. It don't look more violent. It's just like people think that the initial cage fighting was more violent than boxing. No, not true. The AKA fights, the rule was you had to stay at a distance that you couldn't tie up. You had to stay at the exact distance that I break cinder bricks with my heel kick.
Yeah.
You know, and when you think about it, if you got a guy on the ground and you're punching him, it looks brutal. In order to get an effective punch, you got to get your hip into it first. Your hip has to launch just like doing a baseball, just like doing a golf club. The hip has to launch first to have any power in it whatsoever. And if you're on the ground pile driving, you can't do that. All you've got is weight, push weight. So it was when they made the rules that said, now you're going to stand apart and fight, that I had to go, yeah, I'm too old for that one.
Yeah.
You know, as long as I trained in Cambodia in the Bokador and in Thailand, Muay Thai. So if I could do a Bokador tie up on the young guy and hang on him, they'll break that up now because it's too boring.
Really?
My fights were very boring. But I would hang on the younger guy until I saw him drop his mouth open and start breathing.
Yeah.
Then I'd flip him out and say, now we're the same age, let's do this.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. That's a good call.
Them down to your size.
Yeah, it does along the, you know. So you're seeing a better caliber of fighter now. They've got their diets right. Their things, you know. I had guys training in my gym in Arizona, Absolute Martial Arts, that was there. Mark Kerr trained there. Tito Ortiz came there. Rico Rodriguez trained there. You know, and they didn't have their diets really balanced out, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, you know, I always loved it. There was a guy, Pat Singleman, I fought him 3 times, and he just kept thinking if he just did more steroids, he'd be able to beat me better. And the first time he fought me, it was a 1-minute-and-30-second fight. He came back in, and I outweighed him by 5 pounds. I'd weighed in at 190. And he came back at 210, like a few months later. I don't even know what kind of steroids can do that. And we fought again, and it was a 45-second fight. He came back at 245. It was a 15-second fight.
Yeah.
He's definitely doing something drastically wrong. He keeps
so those steroids really worked for him. I said, you should, next time before we fight, stick a few more needles in your ass. I think it's working.
Well, hey, look at it this way. The more needles he sticks in his butt, the easier it is for you to knock him out and go take an early lunch, right?
Exactly. I
know.
So I had that going. I raced motorcycles. I did drag bikes. I was sponsored by Bull Taco of Utah. That tells you how old I am. They don't even make Bull Tacos anymore. And all of that came around full play when it came to stunt work, you know. So is there something I haven't done? I don't know what it is. I've been an underwater welder. I've got a single engine pilot license. You know, I've lived, if I died tomorrow, no one should cry about that shit. Because for anybody to have the life I've had so far, they'd have to be faster than shit or be 100 and some odd years old.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, what we've talked about thus far is pretty epic, you know, a whole bunch of stuff. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. It's funny how you made the reference of you kind of like the Tigger from Winnie the Pooh, which both Matt and I have kind of the same philosophy in, especially when it comes to filmmaking, is learning every aspect of making films, whether it's directing, acting, you know, scene design, you know, PA, whatever. I mean, the thing is that to make a good film, you gotta know all aspects of it. And I mean, I see that you've directed, you produced, as you said, stage combat. I mean, and also you have your band. I mean, it's amazing.
It's a fun life. It's a fun life, and I've been really blessed with good people. Like COVID hit, and all of a sudden nobody's making movies.
Yeah.
And I got a nephew here who's just a geek. He teaches the film school here, but he never really got a chance to make a good movie. And he says, "Come on, what's the point in having a famous uncle if I can't make a movie with him while he's stuck in lockdown?" And I says, "Well, the only thing is, if funding a movie out of pocket, it's just going to be a piece of crap. You can't get a good camera and everything like this." He shows up, shows me this footage, and he says, "What do you think this was shot on?" I said, "I know what that was shot on. I can take one look and tell where that was shot on." He goes, "Okay." I said, "It was shot on a Red or, named a few other high-end cameras." He goes, "No. This was shot on the Black Magic Pocket Cinema."
Yep.
And I said, "Are you kidding me?" And then they just come out with the 6K, and found out I could buy that camera and all the prime lenses for less than what you used to rent a package for.
Right.
And we had a lot of fun with that camera. We shot a campfire scene here that literally the only light we used was the campfire. The latitude is phenomenal on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the technology is good with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where's is that going to be? You going to put that in some festivals, or is that just kind of a thing you guys wanted to do?
We had when we got done, we had one more scene pickup shot that we had to use, and that's a near drunk driving near miss type thing, and we're going to shoot that last week. And I went out in being here in southern Utah where it's hot, my tires had dry rotted and gone flat, so I postponed that a little bit. I got it down being getting new tires put on it, and then I'll run it to my editor, which is in California.
Yeah.
And that's you've asked if there's something I don't do. I do not edit. You can have that. I'll edit my little shit for I've got a little show I do in my garage, a Tom Proctor show on YouTube.
Hell yeah.
And I'll edit that, but even that I've talked my nephew into taking care of, because editors have at birth had their brains removed and the cyborg unit put in.
It's true.
That's just all there is to it.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny that you say that, because Matt and I, we do our films, and for the most part we always divvy up the work, and I end up being the editor, and for the record, I definitely do not like editing at all.
You love it. You love
Oh,
it.
come on. Don't give me that. I only edit
so what you're saying here, what I hear you saying is that Matt can kick your ass.
That's
so
right.
You get stuck being the editor.
That's true.
Well, it's because
This
I got
therapy for Alex.
That's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because I'm the editor out of default because I have the computer, so I force myself to learn. But definitely is definitely not a fun aspect of making movies for me. Not at all. And I understand what you're saying about some editors, being like almost cyborg.
It's like me if I'm editing a simple shoot.
Yeah.
And my gal comes in and says, would you like a sandwich? I'll say, what? And then I've lost track of where I was.
Right.
Yeah.
Do not talk to me, do not nothing.
Yep.
So my ex-wife, who's editing my movie, loves to edit. I have literally watched her in a room have an independent film here, be editing, hit render, go to a short film here, hit render, go to some actor's reel here, move this and this, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
what in Christ are you even made out of? How do you not have smoke coming out of your ears?
Well, people can say the same for you. I think it's just a mode that people go, and it's just they put their, you know, boom, boom, just continuously goes, you know.
Yeah, there's no
But-
no way for me to do it like that.
But much respect to the editors. Much respect to the editors, Hawker. We love you. You know that. And so there, you know.
We buy you pizza for God's sakes.
That's right, dude. You get pizza. You get movies every now and then too. You get some movies sent over to you. Help you out. We go to the store and buy movies. It's beautiful. So we eat movies. We eat.
So where are you guys based out of?
Massachusetts. I'm in the South Shore, and Alex is over in the Andover section.
Yeah, the
Awesome.
North Shore area.
Yeah.
I haven't filmed there.
You should come down. It's nice. It's got a
All
great
right.
look to it.
A lot of good locations. A lot of old timey feelings. A lot of places.
New old New England. Some of that old New England vibe.
And how is it for getting the locations? Is there a lot of paperwork, a lot of hassle?
It depends
Depending on the location.
whether you want to go under the radar or whether you want to go above board. that's the real question.
You know, you can run and gun pretty much here for the most part, even with like bigger budgeted things. You just got to, you know, be cautious a little bit. But for the most part, it's easy. It's just a matter of, you know, we've never had any real issues with it. We always talk to the homeowners or the company owners and get the okay. And outside of them, nobody else really has any issue.
I was filming here, and we had this one scene where we got to come down a main boulevard with 8 Harleys.
Yeah.
And I'd moved my vehicles from California to here, so I realized as we're doing it that both of my vehicles are not registered. That expired. And we got one guy on the back of my 4Runner hanging out the back with a camera, another guy hanging out the side door with a camera, and then another car coming behind getting work. And we're on about our second pass down that, and this cop pulls everybody over. And I thought, oh shit, no permits, no nothing. We're just, our plates are registered. And the cop walks up to me. He says, so you guys are clearly making a movie. And I says, yes, sir, we are. He goes, how many more runs do you need of this? I was probably 2, maybe 3 more runs. He goes, well, I'm afraid I'm going to have to shut it down. And I said, well, yeah, that's understandable. He goes, because traffic right now, people are getting out of work. So get those off as quick as you can. I'll run down the end of the street, shut it down. I'll call up one more partner and shut this one down. I thought he was talking about shut us down.
Yeah.
No, I'm afraid I'm going to have to shut the road down because this is not really safe.
That's cool of them, you know.
And they literally shut the road down. Ignored the fact that our plates had expired, didn't ask for film permits.
Yeah.
Just shut the thing down.
I think we've only shot really one kind of big scene on the street, and we called in to the police. We got a cop there to do detail, and that was really it. We paid for him to be there, and that was it. They were pretty cool with it, you know. Other than that, I think there was 2 other issues where we had police show up. One was we actually had a retired state trooper on the set, so he smoothed it over, which was nice. And then the other one, we're in this town that people like to get shot and killed in a lot, and we had a gun on us, like not a real gun, but we had like a prop gun with us. And it was funny because the cops showed up and they were like all half dressed, like they were sleeping. And they were like, oh, we figured you guys were just making a movie. But, you know, when they say they got a gun out there, we got to go. And they were super cool about it. They were like, have fun. They're usually pretty good. I've never really had any issue where they were like troublesome. You know what I mean?
Well, you haven't been to Los Angeles.
Oh, well, that's where they make their bread and butter off, you know. Usually I think the fact that they see somebody out there doing something positive, productive, they don't kind of, you know, give them a hard time.
My place is in Culver City. You try to film your grandkids there, and they'll ask you for a film permit.
I believe that, yeah.
Bunch of shits.
It's all the money. They want money. Money. $1 million man, Ted DiBiase. That's what they want.
Yep.
So when did the full jump off from like, you know, the fighting and stuff get into, you know, the Hollywood aspect of it. Stunts first, I believe, right?
I accidentally rode onto the first movie set I was involved in. That's, you know, my life has been an accident, and a lot of
I feel the same
accident.
way.
You know, no, seriously, I accidentally rode on the first movie set I was ever involved in, and they hired us right on the spot, and you know, they had problem moving cattle and doing things like that. And then, you know, I started doing a lot of that up in Utah and everything like this. And then I got a divorce. And I went through a real terrible divorce. And every time a film company would come in, I had been fighting before I got into movies. Every time a film company would come in, she would subpoena the records, you know, in one little state like that. So it got to where nobody in Hollywood would hire me. She was trying to get more alimony or whatever, cut off the nose, spike the face.
Yikes, that's nuts. Shit.
And then so and then I had film research that the guy had wanted to develop a script. He wanted me to go to a no holds barred fight, and that was one of the first things we did research on before I was at the fight. And you know, running a little low on money, and the guy there was you know, put on was one of Mont Call's things that does tough men contest, but it was a cage fight, one of the smaller ones. And the guy there says, "You look like a fighter," you know, and this is at a time when they literally would pull fighters off the bar stool, you know, and there was a crooked promoter that would literally, he also ran a jiu-jitsu school, so he'd get guys right off of the bar stool to fight, you know, against his guys. You know, we used to do a thing on YouTube and say, you know, where we mimicked him and would say, "You know, in this corner we have the jiu-jitsu fighter. He's 17-0. He's been training for 40 years. He's fought everybody from Godzilla to King Kong. And in this, you know, from my school, my dojo, which is the greatest dojo in the world. And in the other corner, from that bar stool," we did help carry him over there, but he's almost sober now. He's ready to go. And
your favorite deli clerk from your neighborhood grocery store. Greg, give it up.
And and you know, so there was that type of deal. And the guy said to me, he says, "You look like a fighter. You should give it a shot." And I said, what type of organization, what type of fight is it? And he goes, "Well, it's no holds barred." I said, "So what's the rules?" He said, "There is no rules. No biting, no eye gouging." I said, "That's it? No rules at all?" And I said, I said, "What's the price?" "Well, how much does it pay?" He said, "Well, if you win, you get $3,500. And I said, how many fights is that to a win?" He said, "Well, you'd have fought 3 times, maybe 4 if they pull in an alternate." And I'm sitting there, my little girls, I was trying to figure out how I was going to get the money to get my little girl's braces taken off and done. And I go, "So let me make sure I understand you. I get no rules. No buzzer's going to go off. There's no time limit. And I beat up 4 guys tops, maybe only 3, but I beat up 4 guys, and you're going to give me $3,500 cash today." He goes, "That's right." I said, "I'm in."
Yeah.
Count me in.
I assume there's a mentality, like the two mentalities. There's people that are strictly ready to go to war, and then there's people that think it's fun that are like, "Yeah, we'll do this on a Saturday or whatever," and those people get like annihilated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's the respect issue. My ex-wife did not get the respect issue. She just thought it was a fight, like a street fight.
Yeah.
Because one time I was there, I had trained some guys, fighters. I trained, Shannon the Cannon, a bunch of people there in Arizona. And I had my fighters to a fight. I wasn't planning on fight. And this guy that we call Pinky, he was pacing back and forth. Now, by this time, they'd gone down to just one fight. They got rid of the tournaments, and you fought one fight, and winning, you got so much for losing and so much for winning. You got so much to fight. You got more if you want.
Yeah.
And this guy Pink is just pacing. He says, "Oh fuck! Oh, oops, sorry. I don't know. I know you're
That's all
recording.
good. Yeah. It's cool.
You know, he's just pacing, and he's all upset. Then he goes, I said, "What's going on?" He goes, "My guy got in a car accident on the way here. He said, I don't have anybody to fight." He said, I can't make my rant. I can't make rant. I got no one to fight. They're trying to find somebody. I got no one to fight." I said, "I'll fight you, Pink." He said, "You will?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh man, thanks, man. Thank you." And my poor ex-wife just went, "Did he just thank you for agreeing to fight him?" I said, "Yes, because that's how he gets a paycheck."
Yeah.
She goes, "Well, I thought you two were friends." I says, "We are. I love the man." "So you're going to let him win?" I said, "No, I'm going to kick his ass.
Yeah.
But he'll still get a paycheck."
Right. Yeah, it's a performance.
And-
It's like a lack of a better word, it's a performance you guys are doing out there, you know what I mean, for people. And there's no bad blood, even though you're going, fisticuffs. There's no bad blood
If
there.
you go fight in Japan or Thailand,
Yeah,
you'll be embarrassed at how the fights are handled here.
really.
Such a huge level of respect. We went over and fought in Japan, and we coming out, and my fighter lost. And he lost bad. It was a war, but he lost. He was just, the guy just had his number. That just happens. Anybody can have an off day.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure it was an off day or this guy's deal. He just had him figured. And when we went to walk off, the whole crowd was, yeah, cheering and everything like that. And my fighter was, "They know we lost, right?
Yeah.
They don't care. You stepped up to the plate." I fought this one fight in Kansas. I think it was Kansas or Kentucky, somewhere in the South. 19-year-old kid. And I'm automatically thinking, I've been fighting longer than this kid's been alive. I will bitch slap him and go home here early.
Yeah.
And it didn't work that way. That kid was all over me, and I was totally losing that fight. It just wasn't happening. And he stepped in to throw a jab, and we both sweating, and he slipped on that sweat spot. And when he did, his chin came up, and I dove with everything I had, figuring that this kid is not ever going to bring his chin up again. This is a one-time shot. Throw everything, dive everything you got, and I'm wide open because I'm totally committed to dive in on that shot. That's the difference between a boxer and a Muay Thai fighter and a MMA fighter, a cage fighter. Cage fighter is an opportunist. The others are skilled fighters. I hit that kid and knocked him out colder than shit. And, got walking out of the thing, and I'm walking out, and right in the front row in the cigar section is this big old Jabba the Hutt guy with a 10-gallon Coke can and a fucking 25 gallons of popcorn. And I go walking by, and he looks at me and goes, "I'm glad you put that bum away." I looked over at that guy, jumped up and kicked him as hard as I could right in the chest, spilled his soda pop and his popcorn, and rocked him in his chair backwards. I said, "Don't you ever, you fat Stay Puft Marshmallow motherfucker, ever call a class athlete like that again a bum. Your ass barely fits on the chair. You calling him a bum?" Of course, security escorted me out. And
You could have stopped his heart. What do you think the difference is with the cultures like that? Why there's more respect over there than there is kind of over here in certain days?
Because over here they think we're fighting.
Yeah.
You want to see what I fight like? Break into my house.
Right.
You want to have a good time? Get in the ring with me.
Yeah.
I get in the ring with my daughters. I get in the ring with kids. We have fun.
Yeah.
I'll get on a jujitsu mat with anybody and we'll have a good time. Now you want to fight, one of us is not going to have a good time.
Right.
Me, I'm going to have a good time either way because I like fighting.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with dealing with somebody like me. And there's very few people that are really true blood like fighting. And I explained it to a guy one time when he was bullying a guy and I smacked him and he wouldn't get back up. I said, oh, so you're not really a fighter. You just wanted to bully this guy. He goes, no, I'm a fighter. I said, then get off. I can't. I got no air. I can't. I said, a fighter would get back up.
Yeah.
And I explained to him, I says, here's how the fighter, a true fighter, looks at life. And I got a cousin that has no training. And I'll guarantee you don't want no part of him because he's a true fighter.
Yeah.
And a true fighter looks at fighting, sex, and pizza the same way. Pizza, the more toppings you have, the better.
Yeah.
Sex, the more people you got coming at you, the better. And it doesn't matter if you're on the top or you're on the bottom. It doesn't matter if you're winning or losing. You're still having pizza and sex.
Exactly.
If it matters to you whether you're winning or losing, if you're not having a good time when you're losing, you're simply not a fighter. You probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
You should find another trade.
Or if you're not having a good time winning, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's possible too. Alexander.
Yeah.
We're gonna get Alex into the squared circle. I want to see Alex fight it out with somebody. With me.
Dude, I'm smart enough to know that I'm going to get my ass kicked no matter what.
That's not true though. My friend over here has bottled up a lot of aggression throughout the years, and I think he would do some damage if ever put in the squared circle.
You never underestimate anybody. You know,
Right.
the Glocks fit in your pocket. They fit in your, you know, there's you know.
Yeah. I tell people that all the time. I go, you know, a 9-year-old could walk up to you and kill you at this moment. You never even see it coming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, personally, I like to try to hopefully limit the chances of anything like that happening.
Wow.
But I gotta say,
That's what I like about doing music.
oh, music is
Nobody can fight and dance at the same time.
True. That is true.
That is true.
Unless it's in the mosh pit. They figured
Yeah,
it out in the mosh pit.
Yeah, the mosh pit.
But you know when you go into the mosh pit, you know that's kind of like getting into the ring. Like you know what could happen while being in there. Even though we see people that don't want to be in there go in there all the time and
you know what out. You know what though that I've noticed as I go across this country doing my music and everything. Here's what I get. You know, everybody they pretty much had me convinced that the country was real divided and we all hate each other.
Mm.
But when you load up your guitar, your Harley, and more guitars in your trailer and go across the country, just playing everything from campfire spots to little tiny venues.
Yeah.
You find out the country's not really that divided.
Yeah.
And another thing that I've been doing and having just fun with it is because I think we're at a point where we need to heal, you know, get back to Happyville. I'll be somewhere and somebody will say, man, I love that you're just, you know, going out and playing and doing these songs and you're doing everything like that. And I say, well, so I wish I could do that. I said, you can go get your guitar. Well, I don't play a guitar. Well, go get your guitar. Well, I don't play. I said, I didn't say you played. I said, you have a guitar in your house. Go get it. Most of the time, I'm right. They've got a guitar in their house sitting somewhere that they haven't played. Yeah. And I said, why don't you play? He says, it's just, you know, it's just really hard. It's, you know, it's something, you know, they think there's some rocket science to it. I won my guitar in an arm wrestle 8 years ago. Never played before that. 6 years later, I did recorded an album in Nashville with remaining of the Dance Hall Doctors, Tim McGraw band, Billy Mason, Mark Cordetti, Mark Thomas, Jeff Godfrey, you know, these high caliber musicians, and didn't even know what chords I was playing. So I love doing this. I love showing them. I said, okay, so you're going to make a D, which is these 3 fingers on this chord here. You're going to skip this. You're going to put down that one, which is the 2nd string, 2nd fret. You're going to put down this one, and then you're going to put down the ring finger on the 1 string that you missed. Now leave it right there. Now just do this strum. Just strum right here. And I'll show them that doing that 1 chord, you know most of Long-Haired Country Boy. All the way through. Folks say I'm a no good and I'm crazy as a loon. All in the same chord. I get drunk in the morning and I get stoned in the afternoon. Still the same chord. Kind of like that old blue tick hand I like to lay around in the shade. Still the same chord. And then I show them, you move just these 2 fingers up to these 2 strings. Now you got a C. You move these 2 fingers up to these 2 strings and you got a G. Now you know most of the albums by Alabama, almost everything Bob Seger plays, tons of Willie Nelson, most of Waylon's, and half of my album. And I'll show them. You go, the difference between can't you see, Lord, can't you see what that woman's been doing to me? And Sweet Home Alabama is how you pick it. And I thoroughly enjoy the private messages and the things I get where guys will be saying, hey, you know, thanks, man. We have never used our fire pit. Now our family goes out there and we use the fire pit and sing. Oh, yeah. And you know, so some of my family don't want to sing because they sing off key. I said, there is no such thing as singing off key. You're singing. You're singing. Open up and do it.
Yeah.
Just open up and do it. I've proven, you know, down here, especially southern Utah, the weather gets really dry. So on the 3rd set, my voice will just go. And I open up and do it anyway. And everybody loves it as much as they did those ones where the voice was there. The ones that were not, they're perfectly okay with that. It's something. Music is an easy way to have fun, share with family, and get. And another thing is I like that over making movies because I'll get all the time. My friends will say, "Oh, dude, I saw you in this movie. You were amazing. You were great." A movie I did a year ago or 2 years ago, or a television series or something. And I'm a little bit of a narcissist, so I think, I wish I'd have been there to see you seeing me in that movie. Yeah. I wish I would have got that interaction and thing. But in the crowd, I get that interaction. And I get what I call social distance hugs out of making my music. Yeah. Because you're out there and you connect with people, you touch them, you do something that right now is missing terribly in our society. Yeah. One of the things that's been really overlooked, everybody's talking about COVID and this and that and everything, the deaths caused by COVID, the vaccine versus not the vaccine, and all the political horseshit with it. And what's been totally ignored is the number of COVID-related suicides. I'm working right now with a foundation called Life's Worth Living that does suicide prevention. And just in talking with this man, just simple little things that you can do to help prevent suicide in a friend or whatever. And it was amazing the things that I didn't know. And in this day, and you run into people, I'm sure you have, that just seem so depressed. You go, well, I'm worried. I'm worried, but you don't say nothing. what this organization does is encourage you to say, hey, are you thinking about suicide? That's the first step.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and ask them. And, you know, like, a lot of people don't ask that question because they don't want to know. Like right now with Matthew, I'm sitting here thinking, I would like to ask him if he's visualizing me naked, but I think, no,
I am, yeah.
I would probably rather not know. You know,
Yeah,
there's something that's just better that I don't know. And seeing, like, that's a little example right now where my way around confronting something like that head on is to make a joke, just like I just did right in the middle of something very serious. But then they say the next thing to do is to say, so if you've thought about this, have you planned it? Have you planned how you'll do it? And all of this stuff. And if they have planned it, that's when you gotta intervene. That's when there's, you know, numbers and things like that will help. And I just think it's awesome. And so I love the fact that we're going to do our Country Roads Music Festivals, and the profits from it is going to Life's Worth Living Foundation.
Yeah.
And it's just, I couldn't be happier about it.
Yeah, that's very cool. And it's good that they're making like note of that, because I do think that is the most difficult part of it, is like that opening of the discussion of it. Cause like, you know, people will see people in a dark place and they might not want to go to that dark place with them, or they might just not, they don't want to say something that might make them feel worse. You know what I mean? So it's good that there's like people out there that are trying, you know, really thinking about the appropriate ways to handle the situation. You know, because I think everybody kind of deals with it. If they're not dealing with a depression then personally themselves, and they're definitely affected by somebody close around them. You know, I think it's like I consider depression almost like the flu in a way, where it just kind of travels around in the air. You know what I mean? It's contagious.
Yeah. And you know, if you know of anyone who is not depressed, that means they won the Powerball, and we should hit them up to fund our movies.
I like that. I like that.
You know, they got something going on.
Or the greatest actors of all.
Exactly.
Never do know. So, yeah, let's pop into some acting real quick. Phenomenal actor over there, Tom. Phenomenal. You know what I mean? One of the first films that I seen was some Halloween Curse of Michael Myers, being a horror fan that I am. And I love the Curse of Michael Myers. Some people say that's not their favorite in the series, but I think that was good times. I love his whole appearance and movements a lot in that one. And it's some of his most vicious kills, I will say.
Mine was definitely a vicious kill. They, you know, spun my head and my spinal cord went out the back of it. And, you know, that was the first time they ever talked me into doing conventions. And here's what you'll find interesting. So people started approaching me to do conventions after I did Runaways, Marvel Runaway, and Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that. But at the conventions, still today, my #1 selling snapshot is Halloween 6.
I believe it.
A movie I was in for 30 seconds.
It's the fandom of that, you know, how those horror fans love
the first guy that got me to go to, he kept calling me for the 10 years of terror and the 15 years of terror, you know, and said, well, you ought to come to this. And I said, I think you got the wrong guy. I was in for like 30 seconds. Nope, you got people that want your autograph. And I said, I was just sure that he confused me with someone else.
Yeah.
You know, and finally it was on the 25 years of terror that he calls me up and he says, look, here's the deal. People are taking pictures with your goddamn head, and your head made $6,000 at the last convention. Your head, which we have.
Yeah.
He says, if you'll come sign autographs, we will print off your screen snaps and have your head there to take pictures with, and it's all yours.
Word up.
So I thought, well, if I had to weigh this out as an actor, so I thought, okay, so I go there and I have a problem with charging people for autographs.
Yeah,
Because I think, God, they're your fans. They already made you. They bought the ticket.
absolutely. Yep.
But you have to at the conventions. And and I'm thinking, okay, so my head made $6,000. So I could technically say I paid $6,000 for giving head.
Not a bad deal.
And you know, but anyway, so I hope I'm not messing up your show and causing your editor.
This is the show. This is beautiful.
Hey, this is beautiful. This is great stuff.
Okay, so anyway, so I go to that convention. This kid shows up, wants me to autograph 6 posters. And you have to charge like $40 for doing it. You have to. That's the deal with the convention because you're pissed off. So I said, bro, let me just sign one of them. You don't want me to sign all these. He goes, oh, I do, but I do. And I said, why? He says, right now, without your signature on there, he says, I will get about $2,800 a piece for these. He said, once I have your signature, I have the entire cast, the directors, everything. I will get $35,000 to $4,000 a piece for them. The guilt of charging him $40 for that thing went right out the door.
Yeah, exactly.
I signed away. And horror film fans are devoutly loyal, you know, and I got a weak spot for the independent horror films. Kevin Kangas I did Fear of Clowns 2 with him for Lionsgate. And then he wrote Bounty, which was a spoof on Dog the Bounty Hunter, but a horror film. And talk about smart filmmaking. He knew he didn't really have the budget he wanted.
Yeah.
So he shot it like live, like it was a reality show where bad sound, bad lighting is perfectly acceptable. Running around with the HVX 200s, remember them?
Yeah.
Panasonic, good. Yeah, but the latitude on them is 0.
Yeah.
You know.
I remember those. That's the era we popped in, I think.
Yeah.
Back in the 15 years back. The indie. Yeah, I'm glad you appreciate the indie horror. You know, they're out there doing it. You got to be creative. You know what I mean? When you don't have the funds to compete with bigger budgeted horror films in any type of genre, realistically.
Erica Summers did a film with me called Obsidian.
Mm-hmm.
And I read the script, and when I found out she was going to do it on this horrendously low budget, I begged her not to. Then I got some producers involved who would raise her budget. But then they started taking over the script and redoing it. And I said, no. And they said, well, we want somebody else to direct. No. So she got her deal back and went another direction with it, and fortunately still involved me. And but I was on the set of Swamp Thing, and I was on the set of Obsidian, where she made the creature.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but her creature was more impressive, more real than their creature.
Yeah.
It was, I was mind blown. And she literally, a 2-man, you know, she had a lighting person, she's the director, camera, everything. But I got a soft spot for the indie films because I just like to help the underdog, but especially when they've got a great project, you know. And I talked to a guy the other day, and he's got this project he wants to do. And I said, this is really well written. And he goes, yeah, we're going to cheat this warehouse for this. And I said, what are you shooting on? And he says, because we don't really actually have the cabin. And I said, well, what are you shooting on? And he goes, well, we got the 7D, Canon 7D. And I went, okay, you can do that. They work great for headshots. And I read the project, saw what he's doing and everything like this. And I says, okay, I'll get involved. Here's the condition. We use the black magic, my camera, my lenses, my lighting kits. And that location is not the location. Here's pictures of the location. I said, where's this location at? That's 4 miles from you. He goes, are you kidding me? He says, it looks haunted. It looks like a hellhole. And I says, it is. And it might be haunted. It could very well be haunted. I do know for a fact there was a gunfight in that living room and 6 people were killed.
It's haunted then, yeah.
And you know what his question was to that?
What?
He goes, did you kill him?
I said, yes, I did.
Well, you know, I see what you think of me, but no.
Tell him you killed him. Flip it on him and say, no, you killed him. You don't remember that night?
Remember that?
Yeah.
That was a crazy night.
Very crazy night. Yeah. Yeah, it's good though, the indie fee. You know, that's a lot of the. It's tough because, you know, when more money comes into it, like you said, more producers come in and they want to kind of tweak it, and you almost can't blame a producer because they're putting money in and they want to, they want to be creative as well, but you know, they're kind of, there's a yin and a yang. There's like the funds and then the creative, and they got to work together to make the good product. And sometimes,
if the producer brings the funds, then they can call themselves a producer. But every time I see a producer wanting to get involved, I've had producers wanting to get involved in my albums, wanting to get involved in my shit. And I said, what exactly is it that you're going to produce besides a business card that says you're a producer?
Yeah. And the receipt for what you got to pay him. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the bottom line. And it's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, it's very tricky. And with music, I've never done the music thing, but I can only assume because music, you know, it feels a little more intimate than film can be. Like if you hit film right on, you can hit that emotion, you can tap into that emotion. But I think with music, you know, it's a little not easier, but like it's more, you know, there's a thing they say about how music is, it's like magic where you can't physically touch it. You know what I mean? You can't see it, but you can feel it like in your heart. You hear it and it makes you feel all these emotions.
Yeah, I had a trouble with the studio in Nashville this time around because I couldn't get them to grasp the vision of my music. So here's what happened. After I'd won my guitar, I was down in New Orleans, and I lived in the Treme because I didn't have a lot of money, and I'd be playing my guitar, and there was this guy next door that would be just rattling off these heavy metal leads. It was the most nerve-wracking shit on the planet. And if he didn't shut down at night when I wanted to go to sleep, I would go tell him, you got to shut down. I need some sleep. And he was an ex-Marine that was in a wheelchair. And he come over and says, dude, you got to come play with me. He made his living as a street musician. And he'd go down there and just rip off these heavy metal leads. And I think most of the tips he was making was because he was ex-Marine, and the businesses there were saying, oh my God, that guy plays anymore. And that, you know, they just didn't really necessarily want him there. But he had a prime spot, which was on St. Peter's and Royal, right across from the Royal Oyster House.
Yeah.
So a lot of foot traffic, everything like that. He said, come play, we'll make a lot of money. I said, can you play country leads? No, but it won't matter. Yeah, it'll matter. So finally, I decided just to do it, to help him out. He went down there and he was hammering off metal leads to my country music, and it worked. It was this crossbred outlaw country with Ozzy Osbourne involved.
Yeah.
And when I tried to, so that's what I hear in my head. And when I tried to explain that to them, they had a rough time getting it. I've got one song that's coming out that you'll hear and you'll go, oh my God, it's an Ozzy Osbourne type lead. And it's got 3 black gospel singers. And everybody said, nobody will know what genre you're in. I said, I'm okay with that. Still, nobody. One guy that thought he was insulting me, one of the best compliments he told me on Facebook. He says, sent me a private message. Says, dude, you got to make a stand, man. With your comments, I can't tell if you're a Republican or a Democrat. I said, well, thank you.
Yeah. I want to be.
But thank you.
It's a weird time. I don't know why anybody in the light would choose a side, because you're, even if you're just kind of cutting down your audience, because there's certain people that feel certain ways, and I don't know. If I had a gigantic fan base, I definitely, even if I felt a certain way, I don't think I would. Knowing that other people that like my stuff feel differently, I wouldn't want to be crazy with them, because then you're going to lose all them for what? Not something that is going to be completely different in 4 years and nobody's going to care about anyways. But that hate they have for you now will last forever.
Yeah, that's pretty much true. I voice my opinion way too often, on things, but and it's weird because you had an amazing number of people that would private message me on Facebook, Instagram, and say, hey, who we voting for?
Yeah.
And I would say, here's some things to look at. Search your heart of hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, but I vote for a man. I vote for a person, not a party.
Right.
I'm not, it just makes no sense to me.
Right.
But because of my music being what it is, and my song, The Working Man, got tons of play. And because of the, politics. And everybody said, well, that's the Republicans that are just buying that and everything like this. And some people saying, no, it's the Democrats. And when I, on DistroKid, you can actually track your demographic where it is. Mm. And it was both sides thinking that the song was in favor of their beliefs. Yeah. And it is simple. It's not anybody's political beliefs. It's simple. Working Man is the name of the song, and it's about the working men and women of America. So if you go to a job or somebody else writes your check, you're going to like that song.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, honestly, when you boil down to whether it's art, whether it's music, acting, film, whatever, I mean, you can have 2 different opposing sides that don't agree on anything and look at the same piece of art, same type of music, and be like, oh, this speaks to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the most important and probably the best thing ever, is when you're able to make something that brings people together, especially if they're on totally opposite sides, whether it's political, whether it's religious, whether it's any kind of belief system. And I think that's a great testament. I mean,
it is. And when we did the music video for The Working Man, you see that on Tom Proctor show on YouTube. Mm-hmm. There was involved in that music video was extreme right and extreme left. There was like no one that was in the middle when we first started doing that. that video. By the time we got done with the video, they all decided they were purple.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, to me, really, really great and a good accomplishment. And you know, I think it's a matter. We need more movies because, you know, I'm just getting upset with Netflix. I mean, you know, we need more content out there. We need more musical events. We need the connection to art and to the artists more. And that just seems to be, music and art in general just seems to be a good common ground to put this country back together.
Yeah, and unfortunately, too many people seem to be so divided that, you know, they're, I mean, like you said, you have, you know, you got the right and you got the left, both, you know, claiming your song as like for them instead of looking at it that this song speaks to the working man, speaks to everyone who, you know, is struggling. So, I mean, art brings people together, but also people have to get out of their own way to look at the art as an overall, not as a political a commentary and all that, but look at what it is truly saying to try to bring people together.
Yeah.
It's truth. You know, I wanted to ask about a couple directors that I'm a fan of. I noticed you were on Django Unchained.
Mm-hmm.
Any good stories from the set or working with Mr. Tarantino?
Tarantino is another, I think he's an alien.
Yes.
I really do. It was really interesting to see him and Bruce Dern try to stump each other with different trivia.
Yeah.
And it was a battle of great minds. And when I got on that, I was in California, and a stunt buddy of mine called me and says, "Tom, take a selfie right now and send it to me right this minute."
Yeah.
And I said, "I just woke up." He goes, "Exactly. Take a selfie and send it to me." Like, fine. And I sent him one of my butthole, and and he goes, "No, I'm serious. Send me a selfie." Oh, okay. And I sent him one, and he goes, "Can you be in New Orleans tomorrow?" I said, "Sure. Why?" He goes, "I'm going to be on a Tarantino film." I said, "Great." And I found out that what was happening was they were hiring cowboys to do the Ku Klux Klan and horsemen, and they wanted guys on horseback. And Tarantino says, "Don't we have any ugly cowboys? We need. I mean, these got to be ugly men." And and my friend says, "I know where we can get you an ugly one." And he had me send him that picture, and but he would on set several times go, "Where's my ugly guy? Hey, okay, you're right up front. You come up here," and he has this tendency to. He is a master at filmmaking and making people love the filmmaking process. And he would turn around to the entire crew and go, "Should we do another take of that?" And everybody would yell, "Yeah." Why? Because we love making movies. And he had music playing in between. The sections that I saw, 3 cameras on set, 3 top-notch DPs. Yet Quentin Tarantino's eye is going to be in every camera. Yeah, we had a thing where I kicked the heck out of Jamie Foxx, and what's the guy? I made a comment of, I said, "So is this kind of like?" I'm drawing blanks on the name now. The guy that they beat up in California and
Rodney King.
Yeah, Rodney King.
Rodney King. Yeah.
Yeah, I said, this is kind of like the Rodney King scene, and you know, you're on the set of a slave movie.
Yeah.
So silence and dirty looks. And then Quentin pops up and goes, yeah, this is our Rodney King scene. And suddenly it was funny. Everybody laughs.
Of course.
When Tom Proctor said it was politically incorrect. But if Quentin said it, it was, of course, the exact right thing to do.
Of course.
I just an incredible man.
Yeah.
An absolute love of making a movie and likes people happy and well taken care of while he does it.
Was he playing Morricone scores, or was he playing regular just music on set?
It was all over the place.
Yeah.
It was whatever, I don't know. It was, you know.
Like band stuff, or just like, you know, scores?
Or
everything?
No, like top 40 hits,
Yeah.
one things, and some was pop culture, and so then there was some alternative, and you know, he had a DJ on set.
Oh yeah, DJ Stan the Man. That would have been cool. Yeah. Django was good times. I you know, I'm a big fan of Tarantino, and I tell Alex this all the time, you know, like I almost feel like the Django was a resurfacing in a way for QT, because, you know, Death Proof came out, and I rewatched it later, and I liked it at the time, but it was like, it fell a little short of a typical Tarantino movie. And then Inglourious Bastards came out, or vice versa, they were flipped. And with Inglourious Bastards, I remember like half of the movie was really good, and then the other half I wasn't, you know, jiving with. But when he did Django, I was like, all right, he's back in action. You know what I mean? Like, Django is probably one of my top 3 favorite films of his. You know, great movie. Yeah, Tarantino's the man, you know, and he's, you know, I'm glad that he has a good environment like that. You know, I've heard he's a big film fan himself, so like, it's good that you don't hear bad stories.
No, he is what his position has not gone to his head.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that he thinks budgets does not apply to him.
Right. Yeah.
And if you make the kind of money that Tarantino does on his films, then budgets probably don't apply to you.
Oh yeah. He's one of the, you know, it's funny because Tarantino is one of those dudes that some people like to hate every now and then for whatever reason. We love him here. I said what I said about those films, but we still love him. But yeah, Tarantino's like, you got to respect it. You know, he kind of came from nothing. And he went to the heights. Like, there's none bigger than Tarantino. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. And, you know, you can always, if he puts out a movie, you know you're not going to be disappointed. If you're going to go see it, you're going to have fun. You're going to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Which you can't say that for everybody making films nowadays.
Yeah, I've worked with some really great directors, and then there were great directors, and I've worked with great directors that were also great people, and people had really good people skills on set and kept attitudes up. James Gunn is phenomenal that way.
Oh yeah, want to talk about James Gunn? Yeah.
You know, John Hillcoat is in a calmer version, you know, but he's really caring and very detailed.
Yeah.
Cary Fukunaga is amazing.
Yeah.
Kevin Kangas, I've always said, if I ever win the Powerball, I'm going to take $2 million and hand it to Kangas to see what he does.
Yeah.
Because he's the epitome of a sick and twisted horror guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, does them on these really low budgets.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to check into them, but yeah, I appreciate those folks that, you know, we've been told that about our films, not, you know, that we can take a little bit of money and make it look like we had more. So I always appreciate those filmmakers that can do that, because you'll stumble into people that need You need $300,000 to make a movie that looks like $50,000. There's people like that, you know what I mean?
Well, Kevin's, I'm not going to say his looks like he had more money.
Yeah.
There's a thing that I learned early on.
Yeah.
More important than how much money you have or what you're doing. And that is, with the lack of money, there's a lot of things you can't fix. Kevin Kangas is the epitome of he's learned if you can't fix it, feature it.
Right.
Bounty couldn't fix that he didn't have the money for lighting and sound. And so he wrote the screenplay around featuring just that. You know, and it made it look so intentional.
But jumping back real quick. You brought up James Gunn, who's gigantically maybe the heavyweight. Him and Tarantino, dude, the kings of the world right now. What was it like to work with James Gunn? He seems like a mellow dude, cool, fun.
He would hand out Play-Doh to different actors after difficult scenes. And it was almost I didn't get Play-Doh, but to get Play-Doh from him would be like winning an Oscar, because he would say, "Go play this, get back in touch with your," and the thing that I loved most is I had these contacts and was supposed to get blue-faced like the guy in the thing with me. When I come out there during the rehearsals, walking through, they said, "Okay, we've got to take him in and get this." And he goes, "No, I don't want to do anything but enhance the scars he already has." They said, not even the contacts. He's, so that, convention-wise, my role was decent enough in there, but small enough that if I had been an unrecognizable blue guy, I probably wouldn't do as well at the conventions, and it wouldn't have helped my career as much.
Yeah, it was like a blessing in disguise.
My face was there is perfect.
It's funny, you're the only person not made up in the scene. You know what I mean?
Yep, at all.
They're all like
stars that I already had, and just made them show up more.
They give you any hard times jokingly behind the scenes that you were the only one allowed to use your real face, and they're all covered? It could be anybody.
There was a lot of comments that, James thought you was ugly and intimidating enough without,
Just hate.
But, that is something that I don't take as an insult or anything. When I get an audition and I see the three, they give a character description. He's 45 to 50. He's this, this, and this. And when in the character description, there's these three words: big, ugly, and intimidating, I know I'm going to get that role.
Yeah.
Nice.
The audition for the role Horace on Guardians of the Galaxy, right on the audition, it said no one under 6'4". I'm 6'1". But casting called me in anyway, because she said intimidation is more important than height and size.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. Face is everything. I tell Alex that all the time. Was Guardians mainly green screen the entire thing, or was it I know some of it are actual locations, but the majority was like all those other planet stuff? Was that, what was that, desert?
Okay. Now let me just tell you, I got a different version of what is green screen than anybody else. If you watch the bloopers, I marched Michael Rucker right off onto the green screen.
Yeah.
Which was his fault, because they said, "Okay, he's going to come and he's going to stop you right here." And I said, "So you want me to stop right here?" And he goes, "Don't worry about that. I'll stop you." And I said, "You'll stop me." I said, "So you want me to stop when you stop me?" He goes, "No, just come. I'll stop you." Said, "You do know that I'm not on the Slim Fast program." And he goes, "No, I can stop you." Okay. Now I'm easy. If somebody tells me, you're stopped here. I'm an actor. I'm a stunt guy. I'll take the hit. But if you tell me, do not stop, let me stop you, I can do that too.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. and so marched him right off the screen with it. But a lot of the thing was there. The little area was walking through the stairs, and they had the set built in Warner Brothers Studio. But the one that surprised me when I thought when it came to flying the ship, you're going to be sitting out there in a chair in a green screen room, right?
Yeah.
A full-size damn ship.
Really?
And there's no guesswork. It's almost like it was set up like a flight simulator. I had no eye lines already set up. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I knew my ship got shot down and I got killed, and I went back to James Gunn and I says, so this is my ship, this is Horace's ship? And he goes, yeah, that's Horace's ship. I said, you better rewrite this script. He said, why is that? And I said, because if this is my ship, I'm going to shoot down everybody else and become the #1 Marvel bad guy, because I'll just kill everybody with this damn ship. I says, I got a single engine pilot license. I'm a crop duster. I'll be like Dennis Quaid on Independence Day. I'll just fly off. And wait, it wasn't Dennis, though. It was his brother.
No, it was Dennis. No, it was Randy. It was Randy.
Randy Quaid. Yeah, I keep saying Dennis too.
Yeah, Randy. We don't see much of Randy anymore.
Well, you know why, right?
Oh, we know why. Yeah. He's taking a vacation from reality for a little bit, but he'll be back. You also got to work with the great Coen brothers, which was fantastic. You know what I mean? I love that. That was on Netflix. Speaking of Netflix, that was on Netflix, and that was one of the best things to come to Netflix in a long time. Oh,
it was fun.
Yeah.
I first worked with them on a Super Bowl commercial.
Really?
Yeah, it was you could just Super Bowl, the Mercedes, the whole thing was, it shows a bunch, and this was what was fun. It was all the guys I ride with. They just lined up a bunch of bikers. We're down in this thing, and they're playing "Born to Ride." No, not "Born to Ride." That's my song. What's the other one?
Oh,
"Born to Be Wild."
Yeah.
They're playing that. Me and another biker in there. We give each other a hug and our necklaces thing, and we start a fight. There's a couple of guys arm wrestling, just typical biker fighting and stuff like this. And some guy comes in the door and says, "You're blocked in." And everybody goes, blocked in. And we run out, and there's this Mercedes that have blocked the bikes in. Now, if you've been around bikers, you block their bikes in, you better never come back and get that car.
Right.
But everybody's all puffed up and ready to fight, and here comes James Fonda, Peter Fonda. He's
Easy Rider. Yeah.
Easy Rider, Peter Fonda comes out, and it's like, oh, looking good, and off he goes, and that was a Coen brothers thing. But we had so much fun because we all rode down together, stayed in hotels together. They did a bunch of behind the scenes riding that, I don't know what they were doing with, but so that was the first time I worked with them. Then the Ballad of Buster Scruggs came out. And I know the Coen brothers. I know they like to use the same people. And there was a casting director in New Mexico that I don't know what the deal was, and I kept trying to get an audition with them. Couldn't get an audition. And finally said, look, I've worked with the Coen brothers. I know they're going to want to see my audition. So I sent her an audition, and nothing. And then all of a sudden, my manager calls me and says, where are you at? And I said, I'm in Los Angeles, just landed. She said, the Coen brothers are wondering why they can't get an audition from you. I said, they have an audition from me. And she says, apparently not. The casting never sent it in, didn't like your audition. And I said, okay, what's the fix? She said, well, they're doing auditions right now. Here's the address. I walked in and it was pretty much a done deal. And all of those guys, all my bad guys that are with me, were all also in that commercial.
Word up.
Nice.
You know, they're really down to earth, loyal people that like to work with the same people.
Yeah. What's the dynamic of that? Because I know the Coen brothers come as like a team, but I believe Joel's more of the director, and then Ethan kind of, maneuvers on, like, talks to the actors or something. What's the dynamic of them as brothers on set?
It's almost like they can finish each other's sentence. They're a cohesive single. I worked on another film that had two directors, and it was a nightmare.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was a nightmare because they were not cohesive. And I worked on Heathens and Thieves, a little indie film that had a male and female director, and it was amazing because they had either subliminally or previously agreed to section off this to that. But the Coen brothers definitely have their thing, their way of doing things, and each of them. But it's like you don't really know. I can't compartmentalize who was doing what, but they didn't step on each other, and the goal was the same.
Yeah. I think they write together. And then, they've been doing it for like 30 plus years. So they got their formula figured out. But I mean, I've turned down roles for co-directing before because it's so, unless you live with that person, like I assume when they're collaborating on a film, they're like in it every day. You know what I mean? And it's just weird.
They would have to be that cohesive.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, that's the only thing I think they would really have to be as cohesive as they are.
Yeah. Do you have any other favorite segments to that anthology, or yours?
I keep thinking it's because I was in mine. I think mine was the best one.
Yeah.
And of course, friends confirm that.
Yeah.
But because I'm a fan of the old spaghetti westerns, I like the miner, the guy with the miner that was, gold digging and all that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one too. The Liam Neeson one's creepy too. I always bring up how dark that is.
That one went too dark for me for a western.
Yeah. I like kind of how it would make sense to the loss of value of life don't mean anything type aspect of the West, you know what I mean? And how he's just using that dude for money, and then when he realizes he don't have to listen to the chicken talk, he just gets rid of the dude. Yeah, that's troublesome. But that was very good. I love that. That was a good time. Alex, how you doing over there, bud?
I'm doing good. I gotta say, you got some of the most amazing stories, and what a life, man.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, what are your plans? I know that I think you have a film you're directing called Guilt that you're working on right now. How's that going?
We got a couple more pickup shots of that, and my main star has been finicky and prima donna to deal with because of the heat. Went to do the pickup shot one time, and we did a lot of start and stops, and so we burned out her starter motor and the battery went, and we went to get a pickup shot, and the starter motor was a no-go. Small town, had to order her a new starter motor, and she's finicky. She wouldn't settle for a rebuild. She had to have a new one, and then her tires got road rot on this last thing, just from the dry weather cracked and blew out. So she's down there getting a new set of white wells on right now. And, you know, now I have arranged for her to have her own dressing room with a cooler now.
Yeah.
So this week she should be okay to shoot those finishing shots. And,
Yeah, keep it well oiled, I heard too.
yeah, oh, she just got a new oil change and filters, all that stuff. We did the tranny in her.
Well, that's big. Redoing the tranny for a gig, that's pampering for sure. That's definitely pampering. I hope she can appreciate these things.
Well, this is mine and her wedding ring right there. That's
Ooh, I like it. The engine.
That's the motor.
It's beautiful. It's very beautiful. Alex, I know you had basket questions. Did you ever get a chance to?
No, not yet. I noticed that you were on the TV series Baskets with Zach Galifianakis and I think Louis Anderson.
Louis Anderson.
So how was that? I mean, I can just imagine. Those two are very interesting comedians. I mean, how was that working with those two?
It was like going around family who do not think they're big movie stars at all.
Yeah. At
all. Very down to earth. Louis Anderson was nothing short of wonderful. And, I'm still kind of pissed because I think I should have got some kind of award for that series.
Yeah.
But they don't have that award out yet. I think they need to come up with an award for the most bodily functions in a series. And if they do, by God, I win hand down,
I think the Emmys are adding that this year.
Yeah,
bodily fluids.
Yeah, well, they got to make it retroactive so I can win on baskets. But that show was weird from the get-go because the audition was no dialogue.
Yeah.
Most of the episodes are no dialogue. It's all reaction to and
yeah.
But it's one of those things where he's a drunk. Bingo's always drunk, so he throws up. He's pissing on a wall, shits in a horse trough, throws up, belches, spits tobacco, all this stuff. And I think in 5, 6, 7 episodes, however many episodes I did, I think there's a total of 4 lines of dialogue.
So the script's just real bare bones and it just kind of a structure of what they want you to do and let you go wild with it, or what's the actual script consist of?
No, there's a script and it's there, and they've got the reactions that they want and stuff like that, and it's but they used a lot of I don't know if I dare say this, but basically non-actors. The old cowboy, there was no point in trying to tell him, just let him run a bunch of them until one of them was funny because he was just an old guy that actually, they said there's all the time where Ed farting and so I think he thought that was his job because every once in a while the room would fill up. He goes, well, it says he farts, so I thought, and he just, but the one that really kind of amazed me was the girl Martha, the insurance salesman, because as an actor, I thought, how much courage did it take to go into an audition? I'll think about this. You're going in to do an audition. How much courage would you have to make the choice to play it? Well, I could like give you a ride if you want. It's really not any trouble. I thought that was brilliant. because I always look for an audition a way to separate myself from the other people,
Yeah.
do something different. When I acting coach people, I tell them, come up with 4 ways that you think is right and at least one that you think is wrong. The wrong intention, the wrong way to do it. Do it the wrong way first. You'll at least get the call back.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is going to do it the right way, the way it's written. So I thought, man, she went with the wrong way and landed it. Landed a lead role on a series with Zach Galifianakis. You look on her IMDb, there's literally nothing else there. Before that. Then I met her on set. And she comes over, she goes, so I heard that you did like a lot of stunt work. And, you know, I was just curious, is that scary? And I'm like, holy shit, this is just who she is.
Yeah. I love
Just
seeing that. Yeah.
who she is.
I love
But
seeing stuff.
it is the best acting. Clint Eastwood never acted like anybody but Clint Eastwood.
Right.
That's true.
You know, and you believe it. I had an actor tell me one time, he says, I don't get it. I walk into an audition, he walks into the audition. And when I walk in, you can literally watch him melt, this guy. He'll go, shoots himself in the foot the minute he does that.
Yeah.
But he says, okay, Tom, you know, he said, I know you coach people. He said, I want to get some coaching from you. I can't figure this out. We go in to play a bad guy. We go in to play a killer. I audition, you audition every time you get it. Why is that? What am I doing wrong? I said, well, Eric, let me ask you this. How many people have you killed? He goes, you mean in movies? I said, no, I don't mean in movies. I mean, how many people have you killed? He said, well, none. I go, guess I'm just going to keep getting those roles, huh? He goes, so your suggestion is go kill people? I said, I would start with bunnies. Pick a bunny. I don't recommend people unless you go to some of the places I've been and, you know, get away with that. But bunnies, start with bunnies.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's like, how many bar fights have you been in? How many times have you, you know, life does matter in the acting world.
It does.
I'm not recommending that drug addicts go be on drugs, but you might want to take the time to study the actions of somebody is. I've 3 different times got auditioned where I got to audition for a meth addict. And 2 of those times, the one time I didn't even know why I didn't get the role. 2 of them I got feedback from casting, and they both said the same thing. He looks like the guy who killed the drug addict, not the drug addict.
It's a good thing. Was that kill your local heroin dealer?
Yeah, something like that.
You know, what was the most nervous you've been before out of all these things? You know, your first time stepping on stage to perform, knowing that you had a big scene with a big director or actor across from you, stepping into the fight, the first time you stepped in to fight in a ring. You know, out of those things, yeah, you could be missing some. But out of those things, what was more nerve-wracking? Do you remember, if it was even nerve-wracking, you know, for the first time showing up to those things, which was more of like you felt more of a nervous thing?
Watching my kids be born.
There you go.
I just was amazed and thought this is where something could go south.
Yeah.
Quick. And I've never had the privilege of being nervous on stage or even in a fight. There's no way for me to be nervous about a fight because I don't care.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go in a fight, I'm going to have a good time.
Right.
Win, lose, or draw, but I'm going to have a good time. On stage, I want it to be good, but I don't get nervous about it. I got nervous one time in Nashville when halfway through we recorded literally 2 albums in 1 week. And about halfway through one of the days, my voice started going. And my usual answer for that is, a shot of really good bourbon, like 3-chord bourbon, or Jameson, preferably. I like 3-chord, a strange collaboration. But I knew that early on, if I start relying on shots to open my voice up, but I had this other stuff that's I don't know, some kind of miracle oil drops stuff and everything like that. And I dumped some of that down my throat and thought, holy crap, I just fried my voice.
Yeah.
Because it's really, really potent. And I was nervous then, thinking, shit, I'm not going to pull out of this. And, I've got my whole budget. With not working, I had everything on the line here. I put the rest of my savings and everything into this album. And a couple sips of water, the voice opened back up and it was like brand new. I said, it's called Miracle Oil. It really is Miracle Oil,
Yeah.
But I don't get nervous unless, one of my kids are injured or, or when they were born. My kids are all over 35 and that, but when one of your kids is sick or hurting, they're always going to be your baby boy or your baby girl.
Right.
You go back to just seeing that, and there's no way around it.
Yeah.
But if you look on YouTube, Tom Proctor's famous air ratchet, I've done the fastest air ratchet ever done. I've jumped motorcycles. I went across the finish line at Bonneville Salt Flats, faced the starting line, and even then, it's like,
It's you. It's like you, so you don't worry as much. But when it's the kids, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But yep.
It's an honorable thing.
You just do. I work, and like right now, I'm even. It's like people say, "Are you concerned about your future and retirement and all that stuff?" Not really.
Yeah.
Because it's like I said, if God decided my number's up tomorrow, I would just have to say, thanks for the ride, man.
Right.
I got to ride that big jumbo roller coaster in life.
Yeah.
The one that goes upside down and all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get a quick question for you. Being as a musician, might be a far-fetched idea or fun question. Living or dead, as a musician, who would you like to collaborate with, if you could?
Michael Whitney. Who's sitting in a shithole in Mississippi, played with all the greats, has a gun for hire. And ideally, I would love to just get my band all together where we were writing and collaborating together.
Yeah.
I mean, my band is the best of Nashville. They're the best in the business. And Mark Corradetti's down in Florida, Billy Mason's in Nashville, and I got people scattered all over California, all over. And then we get together. I wish we all lived in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I've even tried to put a band together in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna happen.
Mm. It's tricky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to get lightning in the bottle twice. I mean, you get the right people, and you usually can't find anyone to substitute after you've already experienced working with the right people for the right project.
Yes, and music is opposite of film, where the small town mentality will can actually add to a film. Uh, I had a band here that I would book the same clubs. They book the band, um, the club as the band for $300, and they all play with 6 other bands, so they're never getting tight. I booked a club for 700. I booked a backyard party for 1,200, and still couldn't make them see that I can't get you paid like a professional if you're thinking like a hobbyist.
Right.
You know, um, whereas with film, you know, I basically thought like a hobbyist and thought, I've got a location that never changes. The weather looks the same all year round. I've locked down these locations. I can shoot it part-time. I can work around my budget, my schedule, everything like that, and still turn out a high level product. You know, but you couldn't do that with music.
It's true.
Yeah.
Except for my one-man band thing,
Yeah.
which you would have to see to believe.
I know we would.
I'll tell you the thing. You know the old Samsonite suitcases
Yeah.
that they Samsonite suitcases used to advertise this thing where they'd have this gorilla throw it out of the back of the truck and jump on it because they were the Samsonite tourister vintage thing. They were wood. They were made wood inside. Well, somebody brilliant found out that those were 6-ply plywood inside, which is the same as a drum set, Ludwig drum set. And and so they took the suitcase, put a drum kicker on it, and I don't know how to do this other than just try to show you on the camera.
Oh shit.
Nice.
So
It's funny, I had a blue one like that too.
I could have the drum pedal and then the license plate combined with the tambourine makes almost a snare sound. And I
Yeah.
can slam the hi-hat and make cymbal hits and everything like that. And I just mic that right on my stage. This is a new toy that I just got, just, you know, because I get bored and just have to entertain myself.
Absolutely. That's cool. I love that. And you play that on the YouTube page?
Not yet. I just barely got it in. But here's what I'm finding out. Okay, so I drummed for Chris Ledoux's band and you know, Saddle Boogie, and drummed, you know, for years and years. So I thought, oh, this will be an easy take for me. I'll be able to drum with my feet and play with the thing. But in reality, when you start drumming with your feet, playing guitar and trying to remember the chords, the words, and all that crap,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're lost in your own song. You gotta there's a little bit of a learning curve with it. And I watched a drummer in Nashville play drums and harmonica at the same time. I thought, what kind of brain does a person like that have?
An editor's brain. You know what I mean? That's what that is.
Yeah.
You got to be
Yeah.
able to keep 2 different rhythms almost. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, well, Tom, we've took up a whole bunch of your time.
Yeah.
We usually end with one big question for folks, which is, you know, as an artiste, you know what I mean? We get a lot of people, you know, filmmakers, actors, musicians, of all, you know, comic book artists, all types of people that listen to the show. Do you have any advice, you know, with this business, there's so many ups and downs. Do you have any advice for people trying to, dealing with the fact that there's so many ups and downs, or how to deal with it maybe?
Here's my advice. If you're in the film business at all, you got to understand who she is. And I say she. I said she, and you can call it sexist, you can call it whatever the hell you want. But it is a she. And she is the most beautiful, sensual, adorable, and sought after woman on the planet. And she will tease you. And she will make you think that she is yours. And the problem is, she belongs to every single artist out there. And she will never age. She's always going to be this young, beautiful woman, while you are going to get older and less desirable. And she's going to have constant suitors coming after her. And your only defense against those suitors is your last work and the lining up of your next work. And you have to remember that. She's fickle. She's everything you want. And you will sell your soul. You will sell your cars, your Harleys. You will do everything it takes to stay in that game just a little bit longer. And then one day, this God opens up a cloud from on high and drops down the golden plates. And you open up the golden plates and you're going to read the secret of these golden plates. And you open them up and you go, holy crap. Because those plates say, she's nothing without you. And that's the truth. Because no matter how old you are, no matter what you look like, how many broken teeth you got, whether you got scars on your face or don't got scars on your face, she needs the gambit. She is not going to be monogamous. She needs you. You pick out the roles you want and get ready for them. And that dirty little that just played you will bring you those roles. Because she's got no choice. She can't play them. She can't play anything but the beautiful, wonderful queen of the movie business. And no matter who you are, no matter where you are, don't let anybody tell you you're too old. I got told I was too old to fight and won the heavyweight and super heavyweight title. I got told that I was too old to start in the music business and won Singer of the Year, Songwriter of the Year, and Best Single of the Year. On CADA, country, one of the biggest country music awards. I got told that while we're out of business because of COVID, and then turned around and made a movie. And while we're down with COVID, before the movie business opens up, I went back to Nashville and recorded 2 more albums. If you realize that as an actor or an artist, no one can be you. That girl Martha on Baskets is a prime example of that. No one could take that role for her, because if they tried to, they would be acting like her. No one can be you better than you. And you've heard me cuss a lot on here. And when I was training fighters and even little kids, I cussed. And I would tell them there's 2 cuss words I don't allow in my dojo, I don't allow in my movie sets, I don't allow in my life. They're dirty little 4-letter words. And those words are can't and quit. I do not allow those in my vocabulary. Now there's an exception to every rule, isn't there? The only exception to that rule is if you use them both in the same sentence, saying, I can't quit.
Goosebumps.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
is
That's the advice I would give people, to realize that you are unique and they can't get you anywhere else. I can go make a film with Quentin Tarantino and I will have made a Quentin Tarantino film, but I haven't made a film with you. That's going to be a new experience for me, a taste of life. A sip of champagne, only it's good, because I haven't run into good champagne yet. Sorry, man. I had some expensive shit, and I just said, "Give me whiskey." I got a song out that's called "It Should Have Been Whiskey," and the chorus is, "I spent a lot of time sipping expensive wine, and I was knowing all the time that it should have been whiskey."
I love it.
yeah.
And so that would be my advice, to realize that you're not stoppable. The old thing of, you will never work in this town again. Oh yeah. Good luck with that. There's do what you're passionate about and you will do well with it. With some exceptions. My grandpa was the one that told me, always find something you love, do it well, and you will make the most money doing that if you love it and you're passionate about it. So I tried being a prostitute, but there was so many guys giving it away out there that the market was entirely saturated.
That is true.
So I thought, okay, next best thing, I could be a porn star, and they don't do comedies. All right, so I might as well just go be an actor and a musician.
Just as good, I think that's great advice. That's some of the best advice we've ever gotten.
That is primary. Yeah, that is good. I mean, the whole thing is, a lot of people that I met, especially younger people, ask me about film and all that. And my thing is that you gotta have passion for it. You need more than that, but passion is important because you need that to get through the tough times.
Passion and persistence.
Yes.
For sure, yeah.
The squeaky wheel will get the grease.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you the number of times that my manager has said, if you keep calling me and bugging me, I'm gonna have to drop you. You're taking up too much of my time. And I said, book me and I won't have time to take up your damn time.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, so true.
Hell yeah. Wow.
And here's one other thing that actors will do. I'm just going to give you this one other piece. You go up to an actor anywhere and you say, they'll say, "Hi, I'm so-and-so." "Oh yeah, what do you do?" "Oh, well, I wait tables down at this thing." "Really? That's what you're going to say you do?" You don't know who you're talking to. If you're an actor, say, "I'm an actor." They say, "What do you do for a living?" "I'm an actor. That's what I do for a living." And I don't care if you're a mechanic and haven't done a single acting job. If you are an actor, you are an actor and you are living to act. If you are a director, you are a director and living to direct. And here's the thing I've never understood also. So stunt guys will get together in their backyard and practice air ratchets, mini tramps and stuff like that, and they'll video them on their phones.
Yeah.
They'll rehearse and get it together so that when the movie comes up that they get, "Oh, can you do this?" "Sure, we can do this." They worked it out there. With these things here, why is directors not just directing and shooting? Why are actors not coming together and acting out scenes and then critiquing them? Why are they paying me $75 an hour for online acting lessons or going to schools that people teach and paying for acting lessons, when all an acting coach is another actor that can see what you're doing from the outside? That's it. My corner man, when I was fighting, had never fought a day in his life, but he had a better view of the outside, what was going on in the fight. And the same thing with acting and directing. You're a director, then direct. You're a writer, write and understand that writing is rewriting. Directing is directing. Acting is acting. If you went through my house right now, you would think I was freaking fanatical. Kitchen table. There's my King Vulture guitar, which is a hillbilly sounding guitar. There's the Ovation guitar that I won in an arm wrestle. There's a book now because I'm trying to learn scale so I know where I'm going with the things. So there's a guitar. In the living room, there's another guitar. In the garage, there's a stage set up with a PA, 3 more guitars. In the bedroom, there's a guitar. And no, nothing kinky goes on with the guitar. But
Damn.
that everywhere I go, there's a guitar that I can pick up.
Yeah.
Because guitar players play guitars. That's, you know, you look at the tips of those fingers and they're like fingernails. That's why with chords that I don't even know what they are, everybody thinks I know what I'm doing. Now I got a question for you. When are we making a movie?
ASAP. We're down. We're always down.
Oh, anytime.
Hell yeah.
We'll do it. I mean, heck, we'll go there. We'll bring you here. I mean, whatever needs to happen.
There you go. Let's get that done.
Hell yeah.
Totally down.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll make it happen, man. We will.
Yeah. I know you'll be scared. You'll be regretting that, saying that when we're hounding you.
No, I think you guys would be great guys to make a movie with.
Well,
Likewise.
it would be an honor, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It would be an honor to work with you.
Absolutely.
Awesome. You know what's really funny is I have coordinated fights that are, you know, long hand form, 5-palm, kung fu fights. I've got black belts in 6 different systems.
Yeah.
But I have never done a martial arts fight on set. They always want me to be the barroom brawler, throwing the brawler type things. Even in another thing where I coordinated all the martial artists that fought against me.
Huh.
They didn't want nothing I did to look martial arts. It's got to be big biker brawler dude.
I remember you worked on you did some stunts on Walker, Texas Ranger, right?
Yep.
Did you get a chance to work with D. Chuck Norris?
Oh, I do Chuck before that. I was fighting the circuit. I made the wrong choice. There was AKA and PKA. And Chuck, we were both, I fought teams with Chip Wright, his stunt double. I worked with, Chuck was amazing because I was stunt double in Randall Tex Cobb.
Okay.
But you don't really need a stunt double other than his accuracy is a little off. And if he does hit you, you are going in intensive care.
Yeah.
The guy hits like a Mack truck.
Yeah.
But Chuck would jump in even on his rehearsal things. He would throw full speed jump spin kicks within inches. Completely accurate. He's was phenomenal. Yeah.
He earned his reputation of he beats up the Grim Reaper and stuff like that. You know?
But more than the actor stunt person that he is the person that he is a really good person.
Yeah.
Really super good person.
I've always got that vibe from him that he was like a sweet dude, you know what I mean? Like a nice, sincere guy.
Very, very, very much so.
He definitely comes off that way whenever you see him. It's weird because he's an action hero, but like it's like a sensitive action hero in a way. It's like how Kung Fu was a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Walker, Texas Ranger was not an acting role for him.
Yeah.
That sense of justice and sensibility and kindness is just who he is.
Yeah.
it was not an acting role for him. It was like me and playing the head of the hill people in Justified. It's like,
Yeah.
I've never done that, you know.
You wouldn't give the guy who sings songs a gun with a bullet, right? Or with the lock. What's the line in the show? In Justified, I remember there was where they.
Yeah. I told him what was the line of that? It was he pulls one of my guys' guns on me, and then I says can't remember the kid's name. Oh, he
Start
got
singing. Start
hit.
singing. Yeah.
Start singing, and why he's singing? I said, "I'll rock hit him in the head when he was a kid, and I love him, but I'd never give him a gun, loaded gun. It's got no fire."
Yeah. Exactly.
Heck yeah.
Classic. I love it.
The guy that played that is such an incredible actor.
Yeah, he was. I forget his name, but he was on Sons of Anarchy for a while.
Yeah, he was one of the
Recruits there.
Prospects.
Prospects.
Jonathan Reed. Also very down to earth, super nice guy.
He seems cool, yeah. You know, it's one of those things, you know, in the business, you know, I think, you know, there are people that aren't cool, of course, but I think for the most part, everybody that gets to be able to sit at the table appreciates it and, you know, is cool about things, you know.
Especially those that have earned their way in.
Yeah.
Like him, like Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy's an incredible, amazing person.
And Lawless, yeah, you got to work with Tom Hardy. Phenomenal. Yeah. I love Tom Hardy. How was it like working with Tom Hardy?
He just a really, really, really super good person.
Yeah.
And you know, he tried to get me on Batman right after that, you know, which is just rare that anybody do that. I wasn't available for the thing, but you know, he's just down to earth, really good guy. So Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
They did the scene where they, you know, cut my nuts off.
Yeah.
And we were out there, and it was cold when they put the blood onto that, man. I'll tell you, I had a belly button where my penis used to be because it just set right in. Yeah. And they were sitting out on the floor, and Shia LaBeouf says, we gotta get some furniture pads over here, some furniture blankets. I need a blanket on him. I said, no, I'm fine. He goes, no, you are not fine. It's cold, and they need to respect that you're there and you're cold.
Yeah.
And you know, just was really super cool.
That is cool. Yes, yeah. LaBeouf, like, you know, he's had his issues where the media's went at him a few times, but I think it's just at that level, it's very difficult. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
for sure. I always like LaBeouf though. He's good times. Even on the Disney Kids show back in the day, I remember watching him.
Yeah, you know, if I get to a level with them where the media comes after me, oh Jesus Christ,
I know
how far to search.
You got to be careful. Yeah.
You know, I had one person, gal that says, I will ruin your reputation. I said, do you know who you're talking to? I don't have a reputation. My reputation is pretty much already ruined.
Well, those are the people that aren't getting killed by cancel culture. Is like when they come to cancel, if you just say like, fuck you, like, you're not in my world. I don't care about you. And then they just kind of go away and bother somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, it's the best way to handle them. They'll be eating themselves pretty soon anyways.
Yep.
You know, well, Tom, this was great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We want to have you on again.
Anytime.
Can you tell the folks, give a rundown to the folks of all the different places they can catch your music? You know what I mean? The YouTube page.
Awesome. My music is on tomproctorband.com. And it's Tom Proctor Band on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And Tom Proctor Films on Instagram. And, you know, just pretty much, and the Tom Proctor Show on YouTube. Go on and subscribe. We're trying to get enough subscribers on. That's something new that I just started. We're going to get enough subscribers that I can go live with the show YouTube.
Hell yeah.
And which will be amazing. I've had a lot of, I must be fairly popular because I don't really classify myself as a guitar player, but I've had several companies give me guitars. you know, that are really cool sounding and great guitars. I got a steampunk Telecaster and a carbon fiber and all that. And if I get that to where I'm up running live, then I can actually do shows and get paid for playing those guitars, even though I guess I don't consider myself a guitar player because of the guys in my band who really are.
I hear that, yeah. I know that vibe.
You know.
I hear that, yeah. I know that vibe.
You know.
Yeah. And we also have Lives Worth Living. Is that a .com or is that a .org?
Yes, lifesworthliving.com is for suicide prevention.
Yeah.
They can just Google it, and you know, they're a phenomenal company. We're going to also be, there's Country Roads Music Festivals.com, and it's outdated right now. It shows the last show been April before COVID. That show canceled. But if they watch Country Roads Music Festivals.com, they'll be able to see where we're doing these tours, the great bands we got with us. And also, if you got a place in your town, let's say you got, oh, this place has music events or there's a amphitheater or something like that, send me a message and we'll get a film festival set up there. The advantage to Country Roads Music Festival is it's an international trademark name. It's trademarked across the nation. So I can, and with the foundation, we can move in and put a festival anywhere. We can put a festival in your town, your backyard, you know. So
we'll think of one for Mass. We'll get Mass popping with that.
Heck yeah.
There you go.
We got some connections with some theaters and such, you know, where we do our movies. Maybe get something popping, you know, and even reach out to Tom and also reach out to that venue, because you reaching out to the actual venue to say you want to see Tom or other artists is what is bigger than probably reaching out to most, you know what I mean? Go right to the source.
That's right.
Tom can get more money that way too, because then they're asking him and he's not asking them. That's how it goes. But thanks again. This was great, you know. Everybody go check out and support Tom. He's a great dude, super talented musician and actor and director. Check out his films and produces. He does everything, man. This guy has done more in his life thus far than 500 men have done in their lives.
Oh, that is true.
And it's an inspiration, and he's continuing to go. And fuck yeah, I'll drop the fuck bomb at the end of the show, so we're all in it. Hell yeah.
That too. Hell yeah.
I retract all my apologies.
Hell yeah. We don't apologize.
We don't do apologies here. Screw it.
All right. All right. You guys take care, and thank you very much. I appreciate you. And
appreciate you, man. Thank you. Have a great day over there.
All right. I'll be expecting the script for the film we're gonna make. And,
hell yeah. It's coming. Hell yeah. Right. Hell yeah. All right. Have a good day over there. Thank you, sir.
All right. You bet. You take care.
You too. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Coolio and the gang-o. So hell yeah, folks. That was the great Tom Proctor. All right. Check out those places where he dropped those places to go find him, his music, his art, everything that he does. And the lifesworthliving.com, that's big time. Because even if, you know, peep it out, check it out, because even, you know, sometimes, you know, your friends and family don't show signs. There's a group of people that just don't show signs, or very under the surface signs, and then you don't know there was an issue until it's too late. So pop in and, you know, get hip to maybe some of the signs that might, you know, let you know ahead of time, because it's a terrible thing, awful. And right now is a weird time for mental health and depression. And, you know, we're coming out of COVID, but I think even the coming out of COVID, there'll be like the weird vibe of getting back into society. There's a gloominess of going back into, to be reminded of the certain folks you didn't appreciate before COVID. You know, everybody's going, ooh, I just want to see people. I want to see people I haven't seen in forever. We almost kind of forgot about those bad people that lurk in the shadows. So yeah, You know, follow the Boombasticast and Tom Proctor, the good people. You know what I mean? And you heard it here first from the Proctor's mouth. Future collaboration. Future collaboration.
Yeah.
We love it. And we love y'all. So if you're out there, you're listening, and you like this, go on the Facebook page. We have a Boombasticast Facebook page. Our episodes are up on the YouTube Boombastic Media page. Also a Boombastic Media Facebook page if you want to pop in there and check out some of the other shows that we have, and all our previous shows are all archived away. And if you feel like spending some cheddar cheese loot on the boys, you can pop over into Boombastic Streaming, where we have very cool perks for everything we do, from podcasting to films and everything. Everything.
Everything.
A little bit of everything can be found there. So with that being said, thank y'all for joining us on this journey again. And we'll catch all y'all on the next episode of the Boombastic Cast.